Hello and welcome back to Scriptcase by Jamie, and well, it looks like we're kicking off again with a whole load of new videos for you ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the first video I'm going to start with this week, I figured, well, would be a little update on how things have been going since the storm, as well as maybe some AI, right? Because it's still a big topic. So let's dive in, shall we? So hello and welcome back to Scriptcase by Jamie, and it has been pretty eventful, I must say, since the storm has passed. We've maybe had a few hours of sunshine during one of those last videos. I was saying, oh, the sun's come out, and well, yes, it lasted maybe an hour, and then it was raining again right up till yesterday, and well, it's Thursday today. So yes, it's been a pretty crazy time. So much rain. But I'll tell you, one big difference here in Portugal is that people are not as miserable as they are over in England. That is for sure. Maybe because they know the sun's coming out, or just maybe because people are just not as miserable. I really don't know. I don't know what it is. But yes, it's something I always experienced in England. A lot of people were not very happy all the time. And of course, I think like everyone, we just put it down to the weather. But it's been raining here for quite some time, and well, it doesn't really stop. Well, it has stopped now, thankfully, and we should be in for a few days of sun. But anyway, I wanted to show you a few of the updates, a few more videos on how things have turned out over here. Because as I mentioned, here in the area we have a lot of trees down, and I was going around chopping them up. Well, chopping not all of them, but maybe 2 of the 1,000, if you want to put it that way. And of course, thankfully, we don't have much damage on the house, which is good compared to many others. But yes, I have a few videos here from We Are Portugal again over on Instagram, and you're going to kind of have more of an idea of how bad it actually got over here, because the media really just did give it no justice. So the first video I have here is some guy thinking he's pretty clever, and he got swept away by the river down in Nazaré. And Nazaré, or Lago da Albufeira, is again one of those crazy beaches where the waves get really, really high, and as you can see, he just got swept out into the ocean, and hopefully somebody actually saved him, because yeah, the ocean here can be pretty damn dangerous. And Nazaré, for one of those, is pretty horrendous. Those waves get really big. In fact, I remember one year when I went there and I was there on the beach, and I thought, yeah, it'd be nice. I'll just stand up to my knees, and before you know it, one of those waves knocked me over and I nearly drowned. No blimmin' joke. It was horrendous. And well, it's nothing like this, thankfully. But anyway, that's one of the videos. And of course, there is a new transportation method here in Portugal. Well, there was over the last week. And of course, like you see this guy going with his duck, all the cars are not going anywhere. And here he is on his little boat, a little duck boat. It's so cute, isn't it? Isn't that awesome? But yeah, it gives you a bit more of an idea. But of course, there are worse videos than that. So here's a video of many of the roads that have been totally destroyed. And some of these are actually going to take quite some time to fix. Now, there are 1 or 2 roads here in the area which are, well, not as bad as these, but you can see, given a bit more rain or no support, they will end up collapsing as well. So that's pretty bad, as you can see. It's not good. And I think one of the main ones was on the A1, which was of course such a big issue and such priority for the government over here, because it's the A1, which I guess, okay, it's the main motorway, but still, it's what it is, because all of these other people were actually struggling, like this poor guy that literally had his house buried, and you see the size of that rock on top of that. It is insane, right? That's really, really crazy. Just to fancy being in that house and then having that landslide land on top of you, and you can't get out of your house no more. That's got to be pretty crazy and pretty scary as well. The amount of damage that is done to that structure. Wow. So the little bits of damage that we had a bit of flooding downstairs, on the bottom floor, and well, that's something we're just gonna have to deal with. I don't know what exactly we're gonna do there yet, but that's what it is. And you see here that landslide there, that is pretty nasty, right? Okay, so then one of the other issues was, of course, many of the roads were, well, completely underwater, drowned, you may say, and they even closed some of the bridges because the water pretty much reached the top of the bridge, which is pretty nuts as well. But that's how much rain we had in this country, and I tell you, after living here for, what, nearly 20 years now, it has never, ever been this bad. But yeah, they say it's global warming. Well, I don't really know about that. I think that's all rubbish, just like a lot of the AI stuff, right? The lies. Yeah. And here we have another video here of the water. Now this bank here, you see those bits at the front. Well, yeah, that is your beach. So it's actually a walking area, a whole path there is all underwater. And in fact, there were a few towns that over in Cascais, for instance, they were flooded. One of the restaurant areas we used to love to go to there, well, that they were completely flooded there. There's rubbish everywhere. It's pretty nasty, and it's going to take some time to fix some of these areas. Of course, up here in the mountains, well, we lost trees and maybe a roof here or there. And flooding wise, thankfully, we were okay. We do have a lot of natural springs starting right up here in the Serra da Estrela, which is one of the main ones, even though for some reason the president doesn't even know that's where it starts. But okay, he was saying it starts in Spain. Shows you that these politicians that really just should not be in power in any shape or form when they don't even know the basics of their country. And me as a foreigner, well, I know it. It's pretty sad. And of course, I'll show you one more here. Here we had another landslide in front of one of these big buildings. And of course, you can see there that you have these apartment blocks right at the top there. I took a few little mini huts from the garden. And of course, I'm imagining there that is going to be one major issue that these poor people are going to have, especially if they own those apartments. And well, maybe if they're not insured, I really don't know how that is going to work for many of these people. But of course, that is the state of the country. And as I was saying, the lies is crazy because the media here, it's not really showing you half of the damage that's been done. It's pretty crazy. So for days, they were just going on about the A1, that tiny little hole that had been created. Okay, you could bury a car in it. But, you know, they made it out like it was the end of the world when you literally had villages with a meter of water, or even 2 meters of water. Some of them are saying the water came up to the top of their window, which was pretty madness. I know my mother-in-law, for instance, her entire bottom floor was flooded, and well, all the crap that's in there now, and I literally mean crap, is pretty nasty and disgusting. And again, it's going to take some time to recover from that sort of damage. And of course, we're talking about lies there because we're kind of finding out that there's a lot of these AI lies going around lately. And so, I don't know, I think I've shared a few times in some previous videos that some people were threatened by AI and all these sort of things, and somebody was nearly murdered by AI. And we're kind of finding out now that a lot of those are just complete lies. In fact, they had to, force the AI, it's not really AI, is it? It's just a large language model. And, well, they come out with all these stories about how awesome or how dangerous it's going to be, just to really push that bubble, if there really is a bubble, because we'll get to that in a minute. And of course, that, well, makes people invest a little more because they think, oh, maybe we really are around the corner of AI. And of course, that is a load of rubbish. So talking about that, I don't know if you have seen the latest version of Seedance version 2. I want to show you, well, a couple of my favorite videos here. So this first one here is, well, Jon Snow, right? Game of Thrones, if you remember this. And he's an old man here. He's returned. And, well, it looks pretty awesome. And this is created in the Seedance 2.0, which was released, last week or so. And there's been a few crazy videos on this. Like, for instance, there's one here with Superman and Homelander. If you've watched The Boys, crazy great show. Definitely worth watching if you are into superheroes and blood and a bit of swearing. Of course, I'm half English. I swear like a chicken. So that is kind of, where that is going. So if you like that, then definitely a show worth watching. Otherwise, this Sea Dance version 2 is pretty hardcore. Like here, for instance, we have the Monkey King versus the Avengers. And I'm a big fan of the Avengers. And Monkey King, well, Monkey King's a god as well, right? And here you can really see he whips their butt. But the animations in this, how awesome this looks, is pretty damn crazy. So yes, I did read the other day that apparently Paramount or Warner Brothers or whoever it was over in Hollywood sent these guys a cease and desist or assist or whatever it is to, well, basically stop doing these kind of videos, which is kind of, well, bit of a joke, right? They steal everyone's content, train their machines on it, and then they want people to stop creating. I don't know really where this is going to. Just a bunch of lies, really, and a bit of a joke. But either way, you can see this is definitely going to destroy Hollywood in some shape or form. In fact, a lot of the CEOs have been saying how we are going to become peasants again, working with our hands. And, well, we're going to have a life of abundance, which, of course, is a load of malarkey, right? A load of rubbish. Because who's going to have any abundance when, of course, they're raking in the pennies that they're able to get? And don't get me wrong, the only pennies they're going to be getting there is not from the people. It would, in fact, be from, well, the military industrial complex, as somebody said once before, right? And that's really the only source of money they're going to have. And if you're not aware already, they are already implementing AI or LLMs into all the robots. You may have seen this Kung Fu show from the Chinese a few days ago, which was pretty damn crazy, where they had a load of robots there dancing and doing Kung Fu on the stage. It's pretty damn amazing. But at the same time, where is this going to leave us? Where is this going to leave us? I really don't know. And of course, as you see, this is for sure going to put a few people out of work. So I know I did read an article about some video guy in Hollywood saying this can already do 90% of his work. So yeah, I guess he's going to be out of a job now, isn't he? Just like many others. And of course, this is on the cdance2.ai channel. There's a few videos there. They are definitely worth checking out. If you haven't seen these, you really want to check this application out. It is pretty damn crazy. And that is, of course, with all the AI. Now, if you want to call it AI, because yeah, I think we've had this discussion a few times. It's not really intelligent yet, is it? Just because you've trained it on something, and it's like going into a library and asking the librarian, does that make the librarian AI? I really don't know. But that's the way it is, right? I do think that some companies are starting to realize the shortcomings of these LLMs, or should I say AI again? Oh my God. Well, I don't know. Of course, in my humble opinion, or if it really matters, of course, we are needed all the time anyway, so we should be managing, controlling, and of course only improving our work aspects with these tools, not replacing us entirely. But at the same time, it's not AI that's replacing us, it's the companies, skimping and saving, and I don't know what the idea is there. But then again, somebody said not so long ago, we are already in World War III. I can't remember who it was, so I'm sorry on that one. But anyway, that's what it is. So I think that is the Monday's video. Yes, Monday it is today. Well, not today, but today's Thursday. But it will be Monday when you watch this. And with this video, I will be starting once again to create more Scriptcase videos to show you how you can take the best advantage of this awesome environment. So if you don't know it, you definitely want to check it out. It is definitely better than any AI or LLM vibe coding that you can do today. Now, before I do finish up, actually, there was one other thing I wanted to check out with you, and that was, if you haven't heard of it, OpenClaw AI. Another AI. Now, this one is apparently your personal AI assistant. Now, the developer of this was just hired, or stolen, let's say, by OpenAI. So I don't know what the idea was there. Of course, I understand from the developer side of thing, it couldn't really advance this any further. But if you use Linux and Mac OS or anything like that, this is something you want to check out. Get your own personal AI assistant on your local machine. Yes, it uses the OpenAI API or the Anthropic Claude API, which is pretty good. And you can also now, from what I was seeing this morning, somebody actually released also a local Olama version that you would be able to use with this. So then you can have also a local AI assistant. And how it basically works is you'd message it, say on Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever, and well, off it goes. It creates then all the agents you need. You can have a text writer, a text proofer, a coder, a code verifier, or whatever you need, and then it's just going to go off and do all of those magic things, which is pretty awesome. But at the same time, I think you already know what I think of some of this anyway. But it's worth checking out because it's an awesome new tool, right? And I'm a geek, so why not? Okay, so that's it for today, I guess. Until soon, where we have more Scriptcase content. And don't forget, Macro Friday starts again this Friday. So until then, have a great one and take care.